With the November 5th election right around the corner, NCTV teamed up with Nantucket High School to create a 2024 election exit poll focused on Nantucketers and their opinions. But what is an exit poll? What purpose does an exit poll serve? What questions are being asked of voters?
An exit poll is essentially the poll that people take after they've voted, depicting specific questions that they might have been interested in during the election, like who they might have voted for, or what was just the main topic that they liked for each candidate.
Exit poll designer and Nantucket High School graduate John Carl McGrady designed the poll to compare participants' demographic data with their political preferences. By framing political issues in terms of personal information, the poll tries to understand not only how Nantucketers voted, but why they voted the way they voted. Before NCTV made the final touches to the poll, they wanted to hear what Nantucket High School students thought about it.
Why do you have only 2 people listed for the presidential race?
It's common practice for exit polls to only ask about the 2 major parties because minor parties in the US get such a small share of the vote. But it can be confusing to people if they don't see the candidate they voted for on the exit poll. So we actually added the other candidates to the poll because of your question.
Why is gender on the exit poll?
If someone is a woman, they're more likely to vote for the Democratic candidate than if they're a man, and vice versa. And the size of those gaps can help explain why people might be voting the way they are and what issues are important in a given election.
In general, when you're looking at the population, a lot of women have concerns. So a lot of it may play into that abortion may be a key factor in decisions, but it may not be.
Why are there only questions on Article 1 but not anything on the ballot?
We're looking at Article 1 from special town meeting because we want to understand how voters in the election differ from voters who go to town meeting. Maybe they're a lot more likely to support the compromise short-term rental article. Maybe they're a lot less likely to. But also, you mentioned the ballot questions, and we left those off because it's important to keep an exit poll short so that people don't get distracted and we know they're going to finish.
I was just wondering, why are their income amounts so specific?
The first bracket goes up to the median income for the United States. The second bracket goes to the median income for Nantucket. And the third bracket goes to 150% of the median income for Nantucket. And then the final bracket is just anybody who's making more than that.
Now that we have an understanding on what the exit poll is, how was it conducted? How were the exit polls calculated?
So how does this work? It's hard to get a representative sample of people who voted. But for instance, we couldn't poll anyone who voted by mail. And that introduces a significant bias in our results because people who vote by mail are more likely to vote for the Democratic candidate. But what we can do is we actually know by the time we release our results exactly what percent of people voted for Harris, Trump, and so on. So we can actually weight our results to those numbers. And let's say our poll said 58% of people voted for Harris. It turns out it was 62%. We'll actually correct for them as well.
We set up a couple of computers outside of Nantucket High, and we would catch people as they're coming out of the voting area to hopefully select our polls, go up and just do the poll, and we could hopefully get an accurate reading on who's doing what on Nantucket.
Going into talking to some strangers and getting them to take a poll was pretty nerve-wracking. It's not really anything I've ever done before. But after a while, I got the hang of it. I just went up to them, kept a smile on my face, and then most people were willing to take the poll for us. I am really excited to see which way that Nantucket votes. I mean, I think I have a pretty good idea of which side it's gonna swing towards, but there's always a chance that it's not gonna be like that, and I'm excited to see.
For the Nantucket community, I think it's just generally really important to know who our president is gonna be and what they stand for, especially since we live on an island where the environment is really important to just live on because of erosion and things like that. And I think it's good to know what the majority of people think would be the best for our island. Even though we have such a small population, it still contributes to like the majority and who's gonna get elected, and every vote counts, so.
And I think that when we're being shown different viewpoints of different people in such a secluded place, it can almost bring us closer together if many people have the same viewpoints as you. And I just think it's a really interesting thing to have such an experience with a poll such as that. So I think it'll be interesting.